Well, my name's Clay Henderson, and I've lived almost all my life in New Smyrna Beach on the north end of the lagoon. Hard to describe what I do. I've done a little bit of everything, but mostly known as an environmental lawyer. And the last 5 years, I've been teaching at Stetson University. My relation to the lagoon is an avocation. It's personal to me. It's home to me. And so I guess I've really been an environmental advocate for most of my career, and there's always been an issue associated with the lagoon that's needed some good advocates. Advocacy is the essence of our work as Americans. It's the way we interface with government. It's how we influence policy, how we influence our elected officials to respond to needs. And advocacy in the case of the lagoon are people coming forward, stepping up, letting their voices be heard for what we need to do to protect it. This is our home. This is our special place, and we need our elected officials to respond to that call. That's what advocacy is. I'm a river rat. I grew up on the banks of the lagoon. I've lived almost all of my life on the lagoon. All of my friends took to the ocean with their surfboard, and I had no interest in that. My interest was always wading along the banks, doing a little bit of fishing, canoeing back in the backwaters, in the mangroves, watching the manatees and dolphins and wading birds. It's always been part of my life. And when we first moved here, I remember wading with my dad in the water. He bent over, pulled out an oyster, pulled out his pocket knife, opened it up, handed it to me and said, "Here, try this." And it's 6 decades later, I can tell you how salty that tasted. It was a memory that's been with me all along, that, we're part of the lagoon and the lagoon's part of us. It's not about a city or town or a place. It is just that connection to the lagoon, that sense of place that permeates everything else. So it's home, and you fight the hardest to protect the things that you love. When my house was built in the early 50s, it, like all of the others, you flushed the toilet, it went straight in the lagoon. We didn't get what we now call wastewater treatment plants until the early 70s, and they weren't, in that early fashion, they weren't even enough to treat the waste as it should be. That didn't come until much later. We have over 250,000 septic tanks along the lagoon that leach in various ways into the waterway. So for us to build our cities along the coast, we had to drain the land. And in doing so, we've expanded the watershed, and so that expands the area for all these nutrients and things to find their way into the lagoon. And then that's not even counting the problems in South Florida, which are even more critical because they're connected to the much larger plumbing systems of the Everglades, the connections to the St. Johns River. So all of us, I would say collectively, if we all do a better job of our personal stewardship, that would move the needle faster than anything else. One of the things that we need to do as a community is to do a better job of informing folks that live along the lagoon or use it, recreationally or otherwise, to know what good stewardship looks like. If you live along the lagoon, you shouldn't mow your lawn right up to the water's edge. You shouldn't put fertilizer on during the summer months. You shouldn't put herbicides down within so many feet of the water. You should be careful about gasoline and oil spills. All the things about your own home are critical. Every little bit of waste that finds its way in the lagoon stays there for a very, very long time. So there's a lot of things that we can do personally on a very specific level, and beyond that, other things such as just conserving water and energy, because those are all things that as a whole contribute to the problem. I really like this concept of one lagoon. So we all know what's close to us, what's close to home. And the idea of one lagoon is that not only are we all in it together, but that the issues that we're dealing with from one end to the other are all variations on the same. If we pull all together, look at it as one lagoon and not 5 lagoons, we're going to do a better job of protecting it. My greatest hope for the Indian River Lagoon is that we exceed everybody's expectations when it comes to restoration. We'll see clean water, we'll see it in a shorter period of time, and people will be able to celebrate the outcome that we've really accomplished something.